Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a glorious Monday President's Day edition of the JP Peterson Show. We are live on location at Carrollwood Country Club for the third annual George and Leonard Levy Classic, sponsored by the Sports Club of Tampa Bay. We're raising money for the Boys and Girls Club today and all youth sports with the Sports Club of Tampa Bay. Absolutely tremendous event. We'll have the star-studded cavalcade stopping by here today. Titus O'Neill is the grand chairman of this year's event. Last year was Gary Koch. I believe Gary Koch's going to stop by and talk a little golf with us today. Titus will stop by. So good morning to you, Nick Geddes. I know you'll have plenty of wrestling questions for Titus O'Neill. How are you?
Good morning. I'm still buzzing after this weekend that was in sports. And of course, Saturday night. So if you look at my getup, I had to wear my Lightning hoodie because there was so much Lightning representation in that hockey game on both sides. And then, of course, I brought out my Team USA Miracle on Ice hat this morning.
Nice.
Had to put it on because what a show. What a show we were greeted to Saturday night.
I got to wear Jake Gensel's USA jersey for our last home game.
All right,
when I was doing my well, I didn't get to keep it, unfortunately. Still a sore spot for me, to be quite, especially now. I mean, what's that thing worth now?
Yeah, he's the United States best player right now.
Yeah, he's leading the way. 2 goals in the win over Canada. But I don't know. Brandon Hagel certainly afforded himself quite well in that fight against Tkachuk right off the drip. What an incredible game of hockey. We're going to get into that. We got all our guests here today. I'm trying to round up Chief to see if he wants to talk about the hockey game. We'll see if we can get him on as well today. So just an incredible weekend in sports at Daytona 500. The NBA All-Star game I thought was, wow, that's something to talk about. Oh, my God. How that event has just fallen off the map. It's not even moving the needle a little bit. And with hockey, you could play it out. It's like those fights in the beginning were like what the hockey NHL All-Star game, quote, in All-Star game, because that's what this, Four Nations face-off is replacing. So you compare that to, that was an ass whooping. That's what I'm trying to say. It was an ass. This was an ass, just like the start of that game. Yeah, that was incredible. And this is going to sound really weird, but I'll tell you where I was, because I think this might be one of those, where were you in that moment? I was that big to me. So my good buddy Brian Pasulo says, hey, I got a couple tickets to the Cat Williams show tonight, the comic, at the arena, and we got Loge tickets. So it's, the Loge tickets are like premium food, premium drinks. I'm like, well, I'm not going unless I can watch the game. I'm like, oh yeah, the game's on there. They have a little screen right in front of you. You can watch the game. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I'm thinking it's going to be a good game. I want to see it. I mean, Thursday night's going to be the game, but I definitely want to say I was not going to miss that, and I'll listen to some of the comics in between, whatever periods, whatever. So I'll go. We'll have some fun. So I go, and I'm like, one of the preliminary comics is on stage. By the way, they were freaking hilarious. And I got to tell you this. Maybe we get into this later. There is a big difference between a white comedy show and a black comedy show. There's a very big difference, and it was freaking hilarious, and it was amazing. But anyway, so I'm sitting there watching, let's watch the hockey game, and then I'm listening. The anthem. I'm like, holy shit, this is really bad. Come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And we'll get into the anthem discussion here in a little bit. And they're panning the players, and the players are like, this is not good. This is not good. So, but little did we know in their mind what the beginning of the show was going to be. And so here we go, right off the rip. It's Hagel and Tkachuk going at it. First of all, I'm like, who's that fighting for Canada? I'm like, holy crap, Hagel against Tkachuk? I'm like, oh, little Panthers on lightning crime. I'm here for it.
Is it bad that I was rooting for Hagel? Like I couldn't, as much as I love Tkachuk and he's wearing the USA sweater. In that moment, I'm like, this is Lightning Panthers.
Who
like
could
Hagel,
we not?
You got to get him. You got to get him.
Who could we
Hagel.
not? No, you listen. You know where your heart lies because it just goes there immediately, right? You don't need to figure any. You try, then you start figuring stuff out. It's like, oh, that's Kachuk. Oh, and then like, oh yeah, I'm still with Hagel. No, absolutely, you're totally with Hagel, and that's what's really hard about this whole thing is because for most Americans, it's just easy to hate the Canadians and blah blah. We can't do that. Like, there's no way. I don't. How are we going to hate John Cooper? How are we going to hate Hagel? How are we going to hate? How are we going to hate? We don't. We don't. By the way, we don't hate Canada. Nobody hates Canada. The Canada's the nicest people in the world. Your government's a little effed up right now and has been, and most Canadians know that. So, that's why Trudeau's not their prime minister anymore. So it's not even really a thing. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But just the whole thing, and now I'm like, oh, sorry, I got to go watch the game. I got to go see what the hell's going on here. And then what was the next one? The other Kachuk, and I forget who he fights. So then we got three fights.
Oh, it's Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett. Oh yeah, right. Because
another Panther.
Couldn't have Panther on Panther crime. So we had to have we had that matchup. Another good, all really good fights, by the way. And did you see how the refs let him play? You see how the refs were like? I was like, wow. So is this premeditated? Is it? It had to be. It had to be.
No, they all said it. It just happened naturally. Like, I guess, like, off the dot, like, Kachuk was the one who asked Hagel, like, you want to go? And Hagel was like, I wasn't turning that down.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of evolved from there. And there was actually a clip after that was going around on social media where Brady Kachuk went out to Gore Dwyer, I think was the referee. And he was like, Gore, how'd you like that one? And Gore was like, holy blank, that was effing awesome. Like, the refs loved it. Yeah. Like, they weren't expecting it. And like you said, they just let him go. I think they understood the moment.
Yeah, they really did. If it wasn't pre-planned, then it's the most organically, precisely executed moment in hockey history. I mean, it was just so good. And for the moment and for the time, and then, of course, the politics of it. But then I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is how we ought to solve all our national differences. Like, we don't need wars where millions of people get killed and, billions of dollars of damage are done. Let's just have hockey fights. Whoever wins the hockey fights gets the tariffs. Seems pretty simple.
Well, I love how hockey. I love how hockey finds itself in the middle of some of the political sort of stuff that happens. Like, obviously, the most famous one, the hat I'm wearing, 1980, the Soviet Union and the USA. That game had more. It was more than just a hockey game,
right?
For both countries, and especially this one, right? And last night, maybe not to that extent, to be honest with you, because I don't keep up with the political world. I don't care to get into it necessarily like too much, but I know that it seems like just a very odd thing that's happening with both countries right now. So it seems like a squabble that's turned into something bigger than it should be.
Right.
But it certainly added to the stakes of the game last night.
Oh, no question.
In a weird way, because like you said, like, I have no reason to not like Canada. And especially like if you look at it from the Tampa Bay Lightning standpoint, you mentioned it, Point, Hagel, Sorelli playing on the all Lightning line to start that game. John Cooper's the head coach. Julian Breeze-Baugh is one of the assistant GMs for that team. Mm-hmm. Rick Tocchet, who's a former Lightning head coach, is one of the coaches on that team. Like, there's just so much Lightning influence on that side. It's like, I don't hate these guys. No. But for 60 minutes, kind of did.
Yeah. Well, and in the aftermath, has almost been better. All these memes that are coming out, these videos, with Freebird and all these great, with the highlights of the game. I mean, it's just, I don't want to post too much of it because I think the Lightning might get mad, but it's because of the juxtaposition we're in. But I mean, you gotta love them. I mean, listen, there's a bit of national pride that's been lost. There's no question about it in this country, and to step forward. I mean, we've gotten our ass kicked on the international stage now for years and years and years. And for the hockey guys to stand up and win something and beat Canada at their own game, no
first time since 2010 in the Olympics, I think.
John Cooper or anything. And listen, John Cooper will probably sit there and tell you, I'm happy for Jake Gensel. And you know what? Tip of the cap to the United States, they played a hell of a game. And there's respect among these hockey players. There's no hate. There's no hate. It's respect, but they're also, you know what? We're going to represent our country, and it means something. Then you turn over to the NBA. What was going on at the same time the fights were going on?
LiAngelo Ball, not LaMelo Ball, not Lonzo Ball, but the third Ball brother who's not in the NBA. LiAngelo Ball was doing a rap performance at the NBA Saturday night during the as the 3 fights were happening 9 seconds, that was happening on the other channel. And I just was thinking to myself, there are actual people who are willingly watching that over what is
Not
this
many.
Over this amazing hockey game, which ended up having the most viewers for a non-Stanley Cup televised game since 2019, I believe it was.
5.5 million.
About 5 million in the US. So that just shows you. And at the time, though, my timeline, it was such a beautiful thing. My timeline, every time I was refreshing, because I was on Twitter during most of the game, everyone was talking about this hockey game.
Yeah.
People that you never would think would be tweeting about hockey were all in and locked in on ABC on Saturday night. And it was a beautiful thing.
You know, and I got a couple of tweets were like, "Oh, this is bad." You know, 1 fight, I get it. 3, this is crazy. It makes them look like a bunch of buffoons. I'm like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Like, generally, if it's a regular season game, I get it. There's so much more at stake here. And it shows they actually care. Like, you turn over to the other. LeBron James doesn't even show up for the All-Star weekend, and then doesn't even get into uniform. And doesn't tell anybody he's hurt
until an hour out from the game.
Yeah. I mean, are you kidding me? And then they go out and they play their stupid little back pickup game where they try to, you know, tap into a little bit of, you know, something, and it's absolutely falls flat. It's ridiculously bad. It's terrible, and it's so quintessential NBA. They're the face of the freaking league doesn't even show up till an hour before the game, and then says I'm not playing, and just comes in street clothes with a backwards hat. I mean, how disrespectful to the fans? How incredibly disrespectful to the fans. And it's not like, you know, oh, we coming to see LeBron only. No, but still, it's the All-Star game. You bought a ticket to the game. You want to see LeBron play. I mean, he's the face of the freaking league still. And he doesn't even care. It barely shows up. I mean, what an embarrassment. What an embarrassment to the NBA. This is why nobody watches the NBA. Adam Silver can mess around with all the stupid things that, you know, 40-minute games. And, dude, your league is toast. It's done. It's too much damage, too much water under the bridge. Nobody cares. And for the NHL in that moment to shine, I mean, I think this is a very pivotal, seminal moment for the NHL.
Agreed.
I really do. I think so many more fans are just like, you know, if you haven't left the NBA already. But I think it brought a lot of casual eyeballs, you know, in that moment. And not just, I mean, you talk about 5.5 million people watching the game. How many people were exposed to the memes and everything on social media? Hundreds of millions, if not a billion. I mean, it's dominated. It's still dominating the timelines with all the videos and tributes to USA and the hits and everything. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I think it's going to last. Because I've always said, Nick, and we've talked about this, why is hockey not more popular? It's a physical game. The players are eminently likable. It's fast, very few interruptions. It's certainly not as commercial as a lot of these other sports. The players rarely get in trouble or do something stupid. They don't kneel on the ice. They don't spit in the face of their fans like so many of these other leagues do constantly. And, you know, I've always wondered why it's not more popular. I think it's the more sampling it gets. And I think the game has never been more entertaining than it is today with the level of skill that these guys play with. And then the physicality and the commitment, and it just means more. And I think a moment like this solidifies that. It basically goes viral. It takes hockey viral. And I think it's going to, I mean, every team probably went up by about $10-20 million in value this weekend. I believe it.
Well, I think, first of all, I definitely agree. I felt it in the moment, and it started before the game with the energy that was in the building. You know, when they were playing the anthems and everything, and like I zero in like on the Canadian anthem, which, by the way, I will say this: no matter, I will always tell you that "Oh Canada" is a banger.
Amazing. I sing it all the time.
Even when
Every
they
time
sing
we have
it,
a Canadian team, I'm singing.
It's just awesome. I love going to games where they play a Canadian team because I love hearing that anthem, even when they're singing it in French and like I don't know the words and everything. But beautiful crowd, I mean, the Bell Center holds like 22,000 people or something like that. It's a huge arena. And to hear 22, like GSP comes out, George St. Pierre comes out to this massive ovation and gets the crowd going. And for like a minute straight, they're doing the whole Olay thing. like the energy, it was radiating through my TV screen. I'm getting chills right now, just recounting that whole like pregame that whole setup and everything, right? I mean, and then like before where they had the moment where Crosby, like the guy who's now playing in Montreal, grew up rooting on the Canadiens, and he's getting like this amazing welcome, right? One of the game's great players. The whole pregame was there. The anthems, it was there. And then we go straight into the fights. And then it's like, yeah, we had the fights. And then we like, okay, now we're going to play a hockey game. And man, the tone was set from the beginning. I mean, it was physical. It was one of the United States. I mean, the reason why they won that game is they were able to play it on their own terms. And we have an identity in international hockey, and it's physical play. Whereas the Canadians, they have all the skill in the world, but the United States sort of took them away from what they wanted to do. How many times you see McDavid and McKinnon would come in so fast and they would get sealed on the boards and they'd have to turn around and pass it up to the point. Like, that's not the way the Canadians want to play.
No.
The United States forced them to play that way. So I felt like it was the game at its purest level that was played that night. I mean, that's the way I could sum it up.
I agree. In the game itself, I mean, the McDavid scores first on that incredible goal, and you're thinking, oh my God, this could, for USA, this could get really, really ugly. That was fantastic. The building's going crazy. And then Gensel comes back with a lot of people thought, is it a soft goal? Yeah, you get beat 5-hole like that, it's a soft goal. But what a shot. He saw that little opening, and Gensel made it go. That was a huge goal.
Yeah, listen. Jordan Bennington has already been pegged as, you are the weak link on Team Canada. So anytime he lets in a goal, it's going to be overanalyzed to the nth degree. But I mean, it was kind of the difference. If you look at some of like the advanced numbers in that game, like I think Canada had the lead, was overwhelmingly in the advantage of expected goals in that night. But the difference was Team USA has the greatest goaltender on the planet right now. With all respect to Andre Vasilevsky, that guy right now is Connor Hellebuck, and you need your goalie to steal games from you, and he did.
Yes, he did. And we're going to get into John Cooper stuff and everything, but I got a very special guest stopping by right now. He is the one and only, the global ambassador for WWE, the great Titus O'Neil, and the chairman of the tournament here. What's up, Titus? How are you, buddy?
How are you?
Good. I see you everywhere.
Yeah.
Saw you box the Lefty Promotions boxing on Saturday. On Valentine's Day,
Friday night.
Yeah, we both brought our girls.
Did you go to Cat Williams on Saturday?
I did.
All right, I was there.
Dude, how
you go
funny
to
was
Joe Coy
that?
last night?
I did not go to Joe Coy last night.
That's what my hat is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll just be honest with you. First time I've been to a black comedy show.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I never stopped. Yeah. But I was trying to also watch the USA hockey game at the same time on my phone.
Yeah.
And, oh, my God. A little different than a white show. It's just a little
different. Yeah.
But it was so
it's
funny.
Like going to white church and black church.
It is, exactly.
Yeah.
You get kind of the same message, but it's just done in a little bit more entertaining way.
Yeah, I always, like me and a good friend of mine, Randy Haskins, who's the CEO of McKibben Hospitality, we usually make a weekend to go from up to Atlanta for the SEC championship game.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
He's a Georgia Bulldog, so he's been in good fortunes the last couple of years. But we go to it. Normally, it falls on the same weekend as the SEC championship game on Saturday, and then a Falcons game on Sunday. And I was like, yeah, it's a staunch difference between the Falcons game and the SEC championship game.
They're all fun in their own way, but they're just different.
Yeah.
It's just different. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thanks for Kat, a little shout out to the white people that were there.
Yeah, 100%.
He's like, thanks for coming.
We're all in this thing.
We're all together, man. That's what funny's funny.
Yeah.
Funny is funny. No, I love that we can talk about our difference. We have differences in culture, which we celebrate them.
Yeah.
We celebrate. It's better to celebrate them than to you're appropriating this. We're celebrating
Absolutely.
it. We're celebrating it, man. We have a lot more in common than we have different,
100%.
And that's I know that's always your message.
Yeah.
I try to say that as many times as I can. There's division, but we have so much more in common that the media doesn't want to talk about that. The media wants to divide us, and that's why we need to be better. We need to be better, and we are, and you're doing great works in that realm. I want to ask you about a bunch of stuff,
okay.
But you mentioned the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
You guys are on the come.
Yeah.
Big time.
I'm hoping so.
Big time. Your son is there.
Yeah,
Ernest Graham's son there.
My nephew's there.
Yeah.
So we a light bulb went off in the second half of the season.
Yeah, it did.
And I'm very happy for Billy actually, because he's a tremendous human being. And people don't realize, but like especially in today's climate in college football or college athletics in general, with the NIL and the transfer portal and this and that, it's like a whole different ball game. That I won't say I never will want to coach in this environment, but it'd be very difficult because you go from really developing players and thinking you got 3 or 4 years to develop those players. You might develop a player and then build this great relationship with them and their family, give them a lot of money, and to kind of help them out to be there, and then a year later they're going to the next highest bidder.
Yeah. It's hopefully there's going to be some guardrails put in place here soon, and it's going to be better for the players. They're still going to get paid, but there's got to be some sanity to it. There's got to be some. I mean, there is in the NFL. You can't just get up and walk every year.
Right.
So they'll put the guardrails in, and hopefully it will be better. But no doubt the Gators are on the come big time. Unfortunately for my Seminoles,
I know it's okay.
It's going to be an ass kicking.
Yeah,
we all have our times.
Yeah, we do. Fortunately, our times have been better than you guys. So. Jeez, y'all didn't even make a bowl game.
Dude, we're 2-10. We're 2-10.
But Mike Norvell is a good coach too, and I really do hope that Florida State does turn it around, because
it's better when we're all
when Miami's doing well, Florida's doing well, FSU and even USF, as well, UCF. When all the Florida schools are doing well, it's just really good for college football as a whole. But definitely for the state of Florida, for us to be able to, have a lot of bragging rights that we play football down here.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we got to get back into it, because all this nonsense of Ohio State, and we need to get control. Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia, your time is done.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell them.
Yeah, Georgia. Your time is done. Yeah.
Come on, you can do better than that.
No, I don't want to do too much, because they've been kicking our ass the last couple of years. So.
You got to get one win under your belt before you really. Okay,
exactly.
Fair enough. So we're here for Sports Club of Tampa Bay, and I know you do a ton with this group. I know what I love about you is you are a global superstar, and you're always going to these huge global events. But you always have time for Tampa. Yeah. You always have time for Tampa, and we really, really appreciate it. So thanks for coming out for this.
Of course, man. I tell people all the time, far and wide, this is the greatest region for anybody to ever live in.
I agree.
We might have a hurricane here and there, but even in the midst of our worst, we always see the best of people. And it's a great place to raise your family. It's a great place to get to and from. We got the best airport in the world.
The best.
We got great beaches, throughout the entire region. Great sports organizations that seemingly have helped be a part of this transformation that Tampa has had. From downtown to Clearwater to now what the Rays are going to be doing now.
They're coming to Tampa.
Yeah. So hopefully we can.
What do you know? What do you know, Titus? You know who the investors are?
Do not, but I hope.
I've heard some names.
I have.
I can't divulge them, but I've heard some.
I can't either.
You've heard some.
I don't even know what you're talking
all right.
about.
Oh, right. Yeah, so I can't say.
I'm Stevie Wonder. I can't see nothing.
So everybody's mad at me that I'm not naming names. And I said, listen. These level people, you can't name names because until the deal is done, they're not going to let you know they were involved. Right?
100%.
People don't understand it. I want to know the names. No, you're not getting them.
Yeah, the other part of it is there's so much misinformation out there anyway, and so much speculation about who's doing what and when they're going to do it. You don't want to be the disseminator of bad information.
Yeah, I've been on that side before.
Yeah, and obviously having to retract statements that you made, or well, I thought
been there.
You got a trusted audience that you've built up.
But I do make some mistakes.
I mean,
Dion got me pretty good.
Yeah,
he played me pretty good.
Yeah.
That's okay. He got a lot of people. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one.
I do wish he would have took that job though. I kind of don't. I'm glad he didn't, because he is really good for college football. And I think, honestly, college football is probably the best place for him.
Yeah, I believe so.
But that situation, to have an opportunity to go back to a place that you starred and you were prime time at, I think Jerry Jones should have made him the highest paid coach, with guaranteed money. It's never, everything.
You think he should have hired him at the Cowboys?
I think that he's gonna make money back in merch. He's gonna make all that money back in merchandising alone, and the excitement of just saying, "Hey, we're doing something different," and you're doing something different with a good man. You know, a good man, a good coach. He doesn't have the leeway that he would have in college, obviously, but at the same token, I think there will be a new, renewed energy in that building.
Well, Jerry, he only hires puppets. And Dion ain't no puppet.
Yeah.
That would never work.
I'm hoping Shotty does well, though.
Yeah.
He was at Florida when I was at Florida.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you guys are teammates?
Yep. 96, last year. Yeah, he was there. As a backup.
He's got a decent roster.
Yeah, he's got a really good roster. He's a smart dude too. So
you know everybody.
Yeah,
you freaking know everybody.
I know a lot of people.
So the sports club here, we appreciate you doing this. Did you see the USA hockey game the other night?
I did not.
It was during the Cat Williams.
I
was watching both.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see some of the highlights?
I did not.
Okay.
No, I haven't watched TV though in the last 3 days.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to wrestling. What's going on? The big show was unbelievable.
Yeah.
How do you guys follow that up?
WrestleMania. Our Super Bowl.
Now Nick is our resident wrestling guy. He can't hear you because I have the ear. Just give me a question for Titus and I'll pass it on.
Yeah, I would just ask, we've seen a lot of big boom periods like in the WWE over the last 20 or so years, but this one seems like it's a little bit different, going to Netflix and everything, obviously with Monday Night Raw. Just how big do you think that the significance of that deal is, and how much bigger can we get in WWE now?
You said with the boom that you have right now and the Netflix deal, it seems like it can't get any bigger. How much bigger can you guys make this?
Yeah, I think, obviously the Netflix deal is a huge thing. But really at the end of the day, we just signed a deal with Tubi too. I think we're so the whole footprint of the company for years has always been to be this global enterprise that touches a little bit of everybody and everything that they possibly can. The Netflix deal was obviously huge for the company, but also, there are other mediums out there that we've been exploring or have explored, and it's kind of a growing process for the company. But at the end of the day, record gates, every pay-per-view,
incredible.
Over the last 8 months, or actually a year, we've had the highest. We've sold out or had the highest gates at several different TV tapings, regular TV tapings. So business is definitely booming. We have a whole different infrastructure when it comes to the Endeavor deal and how it interacts with but it doesn't affect the current business model in regards to WWE. Obviously, Paul Levesque has done a tremendous job of leading and ushering in a new era of not only superstars but new level of business. And him and Nick Khan, hats off to them, man. They continue to just crush it. Yeah, crush it.
So where are the storylines going with Cody, Cody Rhodes, and the whole game? Where's this going?
All I can say is just keep watching the show. Monday night, Friday night, and even on Tuesdays. Everybody's popping up there too. So on NXT. So it's the road to WrestleMania, and there's a lot of twists and turns along the way. Definitely some surprises coming. And I just tell everyone just keep tuning in.
It's the best. It's the best. Well, Titus, thanks so much for stopping by. It's always great to see you, man. Thank you. Any of the local charity stuff you want to get out there, right? You're doing so many things. Are we doing the Father's Day thing again?
We are going to definitely do the Father's Day event this year.
That was fantastic.
I'm hoping to possibly do it at Amalie Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I want a lot of the grandfathers to be out there.
Yeah, it gets a little hot.
Yeah.
No, that would be awesome. Well, I'm sure Mr. Minnick will, and Derek and everybody will open every door that needs to be open.
It's really going to be based on how well our Lightning are doing.
Right. Because it's June. Well, that would be the final.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup final. We got a shot.
Yeah.
But,
I'm hoping I can't do it at Amalie Arena, to be honest with you.
Nice of you to say that.
Yeah. No, I really am.
I don't know if we can get that far this year.
Yeah.
But who knows? We've been playing. Went into
2 years
break.
ago, people didn't think we can get there.
Yeah.
And we got there.
The way we went into the break it couldn't be any better. So,
Yeah.
our guys are dominating it at the Four Nations. So.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yep.
Titus, thanks so much for stopping by, man.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Yes, sir. Are you playing today?
Yeah, I'll be out there.
Okay.
Watch your back.
All right, I will.
I have no idea where it's going.
I know. That's why I'm watching.
He's awesome. He is just absolutely the best. Yeah, I mean, I literally don't go to an event where I don't see Titus.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Yeah, the fights Friday night were really, really good. You know, we promoted the Gloves and Roses, and Titus was there. A bunch of folks were there, and there were some really, really good fights. The Drake Banks, the guy we had on from Sarasota. There we go. Want to come sit down?
Sure.
You got to follow Titus O'Neill though. Yeah. So yeah.
That doesn't sound too good. He's a star.
Yeah, well, he didn't. I tried to get him riled up on the Bulldogs, the Gators Bulldogs. Here, come a little bit closer.
All right.
But he said, "No, I can't go too far right now because we haven't beat them in a while. Once we get a win under our belt, I'll let it go."
Basketball.
Oh, that's right.
Basketball. We can beat Georgia in basketball.
Can we talk about this basketball team? Good golly! I mean, they beat 2 number ones.
Yeah.
The SEC is maybe better than one of the divisions in the NBA at this point. It's that good.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, very. Walter Clayton Jr. They've got some really good players.
They do. Reminds me a lot of the 2005, 2016. They don't have an Al Horford. They don't have a beast
right in the middle.
But they have some size. And, as you mentioned, Walter Clayton, the guy can light it up.
Good
he can make threes. There's
good
no doubt.
Golly, he's good.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. So what's going on in your world? How's life?
Well, life's good.
Yeah.
Figuring this retirement stuff out. And
I see you on TV every now and then.
Every now and then,
still
yeah.
Working you a little bit.
I'll be doing the Players Championship coming up here in March. And I also got good news. I'll be doing the Valspar Championship.
Oh, awesome.
For NBC. So
Fantastic.
that's great. Always fun to be able to do your hometown event. And
absolutely.
Talk about a golf course that I've known since the day that it first opened.
Yeah, you probably have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to that.
A little bit with that.
Field looks good. Field looking good.
Field looks good. So it should be fun. And then also have a chance to be involved in the U.S. Open telecast as well. So that'll be good.
So now you just get all the peachy assignments. This is like better than when you were working, right?
Well, I don't know. Don't make quite as much money, but but it's fun to be able to be a part of it still. And as I tell a lot of people, the call on the golf is fun. I thoroughly enjoy it, but the best part is getting back and seeing people.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to do NBC golf telecast for 26 years. And in that period of time, you meet a lot of people, you make a lot of good friends. Caddies, instructors, players, tournament directors, PGA Tour officials. And then when you're not working anymore, you figure out that the only time you saw those people was when you were working.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to have the opportunity to go back and see some of those folks and just, kind of catch up a little bit.
So, what do you think of the start of the PGA Tour so far this year?
Well, interesting. Obviously, with Scheffler out, and coming back now after the freak hand injury.
Thanksgiving can be a bear.
Well, how about, did you hear about it? I mean, did you get the details?
No, give me the...
All right, so apparently they were trying to make homemade ravioli, okay? So they had the dough.
Right.
So they didn't have a cutter. So he decided to take a wine glass and turn it upside down and push down on the base.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, of course, the base snaps.
Yes.
And the stem goes into the palm of his right hand. I guess he was bleeding pretty badly. Fortunately, he has a very good friend that lives a couple doors down who's a doctor. They called him. He got over there and kind of stemmed the bleeding. And it was a couple of days after they figured out that he had some remains of the glass shards embedded in his palm, so he had to actually have surgery on it. So
no tendons or anything.
I don't think
structural.
So. From what I've heard and read, no structural damage, but a good 5 or 6 week period there where he really didn't do much. So he's kind of coming back. You got Schauffele on the IR. He's got a rib injury, and saying that he probably won't be back until Bay Hill in another few weeks. So, from that standpoint, you're missing you were kind of missing 2 of the bigger players early on the tour. But McIlroy came through with a nice win at Pebble Beach.
Yep.
This kid that won yesterday at San Diego at the Genesis, that got moved from Riviera in L.A. down to Torrey Pines. This Ludwig Oberg,
he's amazing.
I watched him last year up close at the Players. Talked to his caddy, Joe Scovran, who I've known for years, who caddied for Ricky Fowler for a long time. This kid is a superstar in the making. He really is.
Well, you mentioned him before everybody knew him on this show. I remember you talking about him. You said, watch this kid.
Well, he just does everything well. Got a great demeanor about him. Plays quickly. I mean, just everything about him shows me that this guy's got what it takes. And then to do what he did yesterday, birdie in 4 out of 6 holes there at the end to take tournament.
And that's not the easiest golf course in the world.
No, not at all. I mean, I won there back in 1984, but it wasn't nearly as hard then. They've added a lot of length and a lot of rough.
Yeah. So there's rumblings here, for whatever reason that I'm hearing Trump is involved, that somehow, and the players, I think, are pretty sick of the whole division, right? And they're going to figure this out. And we're going to get the PGA Tour back to what it used to be.
I would be surprised if there isn't an announcement made fairly soon.
Nice.
Now, what that will entail, I have no idea. But I think you're right. I think the players are tired of this, back and forth, this division that's been created. Certainly the fans are.
Yes.
And the tour did a survey at the end of the year last year, 50,000 people that attended PGA Tour events in the course of 2024, and that was the number one thing that they talked about.
Wow.
Was the division with the tour and LIV.
And those are your P1
right
people.
Now they also mentioned slow play, which I think is another big issue that the tour is facing, and they need to do something about it, and I think they will. What this agreement or merger or whatever you want to call it looks like, I have no idea. That I don't know. And I'm the few players that I have talked to, I don't think they have any idea either.
Yeah.
But it needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little local golf scene. And by the way, I don't know if you were out there on Saturday at Palmacia, but the Gasparilla Invitational, they bring the best amateurs in the nation in to play our course, 63.95. I think we had it stretched out to. I think we had a tee in the kitchen. I think it was on 10. But just watching those players and how they play that golf course, the crowd is huge. It's just a great local event, and it came down to the very last hole. Guy almost hit a sand shot in on 18 to force a playoff. That is a treasured local event, and I know you know a lot about it.
Oh, yeah. No, it really is. I mean, it's been around forever.
Yeah.
Close to 100 years now.
Yeah.
And, the guys there at Palmacia, Kevin Vetkowski has kind of taken the lead as quote-unquote tournament chairman, and they've really done a great job of inviting top, mid-amateur players from all over the country. And the event is just growing in stature. The more you get good guys to come and play, and they rave about the tournament, and the more guys hear about it, and a lot of it's word of mouth. The play was good. The courses. It's
4 under,
it's
3 days.
The funniest little golf
3 days,
course.
4
you
under.
Look at the scorecard. You play a practice round, and you think, hey, I'm good. I ought to shoot 3 or 4 under every time I play this course, and it never seems to happen.
Why is that?
I think it's a combination of things. One, especially this year, the rough was very prevalent.
I played yesterday.
Yeah, the overseeded rough was a big factor. The other is, the greens are tricky. A lot of little Donald Ross fall off areas, and if you don't hit the ball in just the right place, you'll see your ball kind of trickling off the edge, and the next thing you know, it's 20 yards off the green, and you have a very difficult shot left from there. I think, too, a lot of how the game is played now, it's played so aggressively.
Yeah.
And to me, Palmacia is a golf course that you don't necessarily need to play super aggressively to shoot a good score. Being in play off the tee, critical. Play into the middle of the greens a lot of time. Having that discipline to do that probably pays reward.
Very Augusta-esque.
Very much so.
Yeah. And we've got Jackson Suber, who grew up at Palmacia, who's now on the tour, had a top 10, I think, is second or third, or top 20.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, in Hawaii at the Sony Open. Yeah. No, he was top 10. Yeah. Had a great finish. And, a couple of people asked me about that, and I know Jackson, great guy, great young man. Comes from a wonderful family.
Indeed.
Great, background there at Palmacia and Tampa. The biggest takeaway to me, all of a sudden, you prove to yourself you belong. And to be able to do that in literally his first start of the year, that's a tremendous confidence boost, because I don't care how good you are. When you first get out on the PGA Tour, you're playing against guys you've watched on TV, players you've idolized, you've followed their careers, you know how good they are. And there's always that little doubt in your mind, am I good enough to compete with these guys on a regular basis? And for him to go out there and finish in the top 10 the very first week has to fill him with a lot of confidence. And he has the game. I mean, those of us that know him, you've probably played with him, I've played with him. I mean, he has.
it.
Oh yeah, he has.
But
the game.
he's got the whole package.
He does, and looking forward to watching the continuation of his career. I'm sure he'll be playing this week. They go down to Mexico to play the event there. I'm sure he'll be playing.
Will he get in Valspar?
I think he is going to get in Valspar, and if he doesn't get in on his own, I'm sure he'll get an exemption.
He should. Yeah,
I'd be shocked if we don't see Jackson Super in the field at Valspar.
All right, a quick etiquette question here. So you see the swelling I have on my hand here?
Yeah, that would be your left hand just below the base of your thumb.
Yeah.
So
this is courtesy of Al Rogers. You know Al? He's a member over at Palm Springs.
So
I'm standing behind. I'm on the 9th tee. I'm standing behind the 8th tee.
Yeah.
Right, and I'll get my hands behind my back, having a nice casual conversation when a ball hits me on the fly.
Ouch.
I mean,
ouch.
Stings me.
Ouch.
No forecall.
Ouch.
No forecall.
Whoa.
No, and I look back at the tee. Nobody's doing the I'm sorry thing. Just
ouch.
Like,
ouch.
And then they drive up and they're laughing. I don't. There's Bill Curtis involved in that as well.
Oh.
How would you as a long time if
I would say
the great
he's
golf
very
ambassador.
lucky that you didn't go after him with a club. I know plenty of guys that would have done that.
Yeah.
Had you gotten hit without anybody yelling for, and then almost like they're making a joke out of it. Yeah.
That's just poor. That's poor.
I mean
that's worth what?
The
At least a couple of bottles of my favorite.
I would think so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or I might have to get Scott Jeeves involved with the Jeeves Law Group too.
There
might
you
have
go.
to do that.
Yeah,
okay. I just wanted to get it in case we have to. I need testimony from an expert.
All right.
That would be good.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much for stopping by.
All right.
I appreciate that. You're
Great.
the best.
I appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you soon. Have fun today. The great Gary Koch right there at the Tampa Sports Club of Tampa Bay now. Golf tournament here. I think we need to take a break, don't we?
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get a little bit more into we got some sound from John Cooper on the national anthem. I think he had some really, really good points talking about the anthem controversy and, of course, the game itself and what it means for the game of hockey. So we'll get to that. We got Daytona. We got lots. We got Ray's stuff to get to. And I do have some, I'm not going to call it breaking news, but more news on the investors. So we'll do that. When we come back, we're coming to you live from Carrollwood Country Club. It's the Sports Club of Tampa Bay annual Leonard and George Levy tournament. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. Excuse me, I'm eating my blueberry muffin here. The great Lou Maggio is here from the Sports Club of Tampa Bay. The vice president now?
Extremely great, right?
What's that?
Extremely great?
Extremely great.
Thank
yes,
you.
Extremely great.
Someone's got to pat me.
You are vice president, soon to be president of the club.
Soon to be president, yeah.
The driving force behind the 3rd annual George and Leonard Levy Classic going on here at Carrollwood.
Right.
Yeah. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Fun, warm compared to my buddies up in up north. They're freezing their asses off.
Absolutely, they are. So it's an absolutely gorgeous day here.
Amazing day for this 3rd annual golf classic. I mean, Sports Club is growing so big. We got over 160 members now.
Damn.
And we're doing a lot of sports type activities, and we're raising a lot of good money for some, good folks. We gave over $20,000 last year, the Boys and Girls Club at the Hall of Fame. We inducted last year. Steve Spurrier, you're great, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank
you. I had such a great time doing that last year.
We inducted Steve Spurrier. We inducted Titus O'Neill, Bruce Arians, Aaron Andrews.
Yeah.
Bobby Diaz. It was great. And this year so far, we've announced Dick Vitale's coming in.
Dickie B.
Tony Dungy.
Nice.
Rob Higgins is coming in.
Rob Higgins.
And we have one.
Rob Higgins?
From across the bay. John
Cooper.
He's
emceeing his own. Oh, no, I'm still the MC.
You're the MC.
Okay, good. Because Higgins may want to take. He's a damn good MC.
He's across the bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, as far as we have one more special guest we're not going to announce yet.
Okay.
It'll be kind of fun. And we got John Cooper. As long as they're not in the playoffs.
Right.
We got John Cooper.
Well, they're going to be in the playoffs.
And then we're doing some. We have pickleball tournament coming May 3rd. And aren't you going to play?
I'm going to play in that. Yeah, I got to start
Tino
working
Martinez,
on my pickleball.
Yeah, Tino Martinez is going to slap you all over the place.
That's okay. That's okay.
I don't think.
I ain't scared.
My money's on you.
I ain't scared.
And again, we're spotting you.
We're
spotting you a bunch of.
He's a baseball player.
No,
I'm
amazing pickleball player.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's like,
hand-eye coordination.
It's amazing. I mean, This guy does this like 3 times a week. I said, I coached him in high school. Trust me, I didn't make him great. He was already good. And I said, if you put this much time into baseball, you would have had a great career. Wait a minute, you did have a pretty good career, Tino. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so you got the pickleball event, and then after that is Hall of Fame. What's the date on that? June
the 4th.
June the 4th.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if the Lightning are still in June the 4th,
right,
then that means we made it to the final.
Yeah, that'd be good. That's not bad. And
it can happen.
We got Titus O'Neill here today and Gary Cook, and we got like you said. I always keep saying a bad day of golf is better than a good day of work.
That's right.
And everybody proves me right here, especially you.
That's right.
I don't have to trust me.
Especially me.
I don't have to twist his arm to get him out here.
Let's go play. Beautiful course. Carrollwood looks great.
Carrollwood looks amazing. I mean, Carrollwood Country Club is really sharp.
Yeah. I mean, it's no Palmacia, but.
No, there is no Palmacia. Wait a second.
This speaking of Palmacia,
is where I'm a member of Palmacia.
I know.
Of Carrollwood.
I know you're
a member of Palmacia.
I know you are.
Okay,
where do you hold your events?
Huh?
Where do you hold the sports club events?
Well, we have
where?
We have at Palmacia.
At Palmacia.
You guys aren't going to have a golf course for 8 months.
No, we're not.
And we're going to slap you around like this if you're Canadians, okay?
So I'm going to be.
I'm a member here at Carrollwood, and you're going to come and boo me.
I didn't boo you.
Wait a minute.
I just said
you're at my mercy now, buddy. No.
It's a little bit better.
No. I'm
going to stand up for my club.
I got a 3-wood for you. doing? You're not coming anyway. You think we slapped those Canadians yesterday? Wait till you see what I do to you.
So, but the events now, guys, you guys have transformed them pretty dramatically.
Yeah, we have a guest speaker every month at Palmacia, and it's a great time. Actually, this past Wednesday we had the legends of Tampa wrestling. We had Steve Kern, we had Joe Malenko, we had Brian Blair, and we had Jerry Briscoe, and telling these amazing stories. So you come, you hear some great stories. We've had Brian Cashman before, so every month we have somebody new. Everything about sports.
Yeah, some really good guests. Some
great
really
guys.
Good
I mean, we've
programs.
had Joe Madden's come in before, Tino's come in.
Yeah.
Have a great
JP
meal.
Peterson.
JP Peterson.
That's when the guy cancels. They call me last minute, and I show up and I rock the house. That's what I do.
Is that what you do?
I'm not that.
Is that what they keep telling
That's
you?
what they tell me.
Yeah, we lie. We lie a lot. Anyway, go ahead.
You make me feel good. It's fine. It's fine. Keep lying to me.
We try.
I'm gullible. Yeah, so the events are great, and you network with, obviously, guys like Lou Maggio, so the cream of the crop in terms of folks in Tampa Bay. So it's great networking, great events, and the entry fee to be a member is really exorbitant.
It's $100 a year.
$100 a year.
But don't feel bad. I pay for JP's. Anyway,
well, I mean, all the free stuff I give you guys. I mean, they
just ate free muffins for God's sakes. What else do you want me to do for you? But it's all, we're a 501(c), and we do a lot of great stuff. Besides the Boys and Girls Club, we're looking for any way we can help different sporting type youth in Tampa. Yeah. It's all about everything we do is for charity. Everything. So and it's like get involved. We want to get some young people involved, and pickleball's into that. And we got the 50th anniversary of the Bucs coming up.
That's right.
And we're going to have some amazing events. If you get a chance, go to www.sportscluboftampabay.org. Look at our site. Look at some of the people that have been inducted.
It's a who's who, Tampa Bay.
It's a who of Tampa sports.
Yeah. So get involved. Get your $100 membership. We have the monthly events, and then we have events like this you can get into, the pickleball, everything. And the Hall of Fame dinner is always awesome.
I keep twisting JT to be on my board of directors. They keep telling me,
I'm in.
You're in. You're not in Orlando?
I'm in. No, I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to rent you the condo again?
No, I'm in. I'm here. So, no, we're good to go, and looking forward to this year as well.
We love your show, man. And this year, by the way, you are hitting from the whites.
I am?
Hey, you're in a ringer. You're a ringer. You're not hitting from the grays, okay?
I get to hit from the whites?
Yeah, you have to hit from the whites.
I usually hit from the blues.
I know.
So I'll take the whites. Yeah, I'm getting old, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting old.
Yeah. I'm not sure. You remember when they used to cork the bats?
Yeah.
I want to see what the hell you're putting in that club.
Well, I have a very special driver that I use.
Bet you
Absolutely.
I bet you do.
All right, partner.
Brother.
Thank you for stopping by.
Always have.
You're
always
the best.
Fun, brother.
All right.
Take care, man.
The great Lou Maggio, right there, folks. Sports Club of Tampa Bay. Go to their website and become a member. All right, Nick, you want to what are we at? 10:50. Let's get to the John Cooper sound, shall we?
Let's do it.
From last night. The first. What do you get? What's the first one on the anthem or the game itself?
Let's do the game first because the anthem was a separate conversation. So let's wrap up the game. So this was John Cooper talking about the significance of that game on Saturday night.
There's a lot of people talking about hockey that don't normally talk about hockey after last night's game, and I just wanted to get your sense or opinion about what that moment meant to you to just see hockey kind of break out of the bubble like that.
So, I actually, there's probably the people on your phone and everybody's phone in here and people that text you, there's probably the usual suspects. I would say the unusual suspects were the ones that were, I was getting text messages from, and people I just were marveling at the game. I have no idea what the TV ratings were, but from the group of people that were either texting me or talking about this game, the audience had to be vast, and I think it had a combination of everything. And the naysayers, you can say whatever you want about fighting. That was what ignited the game. And then when both teams flexed and nobody backed down, then a hockey game broke out, and it was a fantastic hockey game. And I said it last night, when you get the best players in the world, not only trying to score, but actually checking, and this is what you get. And so you're holding your breath every time there's a potential scoring chance because you don't know if it's going to be the last one. And I thought the game is in a better place because last night's game existed. The only thing that was disappointing that we weren't on the right end of it, but the characters, the personalities on both teams, I think really came to the forefront, and it's why we love this game. And I don't know. There's lots of great sports out there. I don't want to corner us and put us in a corner, but it's a pretty brilliant game of speed, grace, and toughness and swag, and all those things combined in one, and it can bring 22,000 people to a frenzy. And it was phenomenal to be a part of.
Left side, front row.
All right. Wow. He said that a lot better than I did in the beginning.
He's always got a way of words. We always know that with John.
Yeah. I mean, and that was just to my point. And again, he said it a lot better than me. This game is just so good. It's so good. And I would implore you, if you've not gone to a Lightning game, I mean, the show that we put on, I say we because I'm a small part of it, but, the Lightning vision and the game itself, the players, the whole atmosphere, it's second to none to me. And, I've been covering sports for a long, long time, and it's just, especially where professional sports are now and college sports, there's a lot of BS around the games, and the outside of the games that it's kind of taken away from the games themselves. Hockey really doesn't have that for the most part in terms of the players, the politics of the game, whatever it is. They don't have that. So if there's ever been a time and there's ever been a moment for hockey to explode, this is it.
I've been hoping for that for years, and I don't know what the answers are, the problems necessarily. It feels like, and I feel like a lot of people say this, I don't know if the NHL markets the game as well as they could. Then I think that's just, that's been going on forever, right? Like If you were to just ask random people on the street, like, hey, who's Connor McDavid? I just don't know if many people are saying, yeah, I know who that is. I think that's a big problem that the NHL has. I think it's a big problem that, now they have these TV deals with ESPN and TNT. Well, how much effort do you feel like ESPN has ever really put into this over the last 4 years that they've had this TV contract? Like, it's very secondary, and I understand that in the current media landscape, the NFL is going to dominate everything. The NBA is going to follow right after that, and everything else is going to come, secondary. But the NHL is so far below the MLB. It's so far below college basketball, both men's and women's at this point. It's below the viewership. In terms of viewership, the WNBA, when Caitlin Clark's playing, I'm sure is surpassing the NHL games that are on ESPN whenever they're on. And it's a big problem, and it's unfortunate because, like you said, when you go to a hockey game and you look at the arenas across this country and in Canada as well, most of the games are sold out.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it doesn't translate to TV ratings, and I hate it because I think it's the most beautiful game that we have. And Saturday night was, again, it was hockey played at its purest form, best on best, and you saw how tight it was. Shots were 20-20 at one point in the third period, and I had no problem with it. It felt like such a throwback that the other night.
Well, and remember, international competitions have been few and far between for hockey. It's been a while. Go back to 2010 since the USA has beaten Canada. And by the way, they're going to play again Thursday night, we hope. I don't think Canada's going to.
I want them again. I want them again.
Who's going to screw this up? So if we haven't really mentioned this, so tonight USA plays Finland. They're already in the championship.
Sweden.
Sweden. Gensel versus Hedman tonight. And then, but they're already in the championship game Thursday night, and the games are now in Boston, by the way.
Yep.
So there'll be no booing of the anthem, and I hope to God we don't boo the Canadian anthem. It is Boston, so hooligans up there. But I hope the best way to handle this is to not boo them, is to be classy and not boo the anthem, and then go out and kick their ass. That's the way you handle this.
Yeah. But I feel like in general too, there's just something about when you're representing your country. I just, you see this with other sports too, like when the Olympics come around or any international competition, whatever the sport is, we, and I say we as an American sports fans, no matter what the sport is, if they're wearing the USA sweater, we're locked in. Like, even for some that, we were ripping, the NBA product and everything. Well, when they were playing in the Olympics, you know what? It was fun as hell. And we were all watching, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing with soccer. Is soccer growing in this country? Yes. But kind of like the NHL, it's sort of niche a little bit, or niche, whatever you say. But when you put on the World Cup, when you put on, Copa America or any of these other tournaments USA Soccer's playing in, we're all watching. And that was the same thing that happened last night or the other night for USA Hockey. And it's so different because we haven't seen this in 10 years.
Right.
We waited 10 years, and let's never do that again. By the way, if Nikita Kucherov dogging it in the skills competition last year was the catalyst for us to not do the All-Star game this year, then thank you, Nikita, because I don't need to see another NHL All-Star game. I really don't.
It turns out that Nikita Kucherov was a trendsetter. He was like, what we're doing here is stupid. Can we please do something else? And this is what was born. And it's an absolute stroke of genius on so many levels. And, and that just organically happened the other night. It was tremendous. All right. So, okay, to the anthem. Now, for those who are not as politically savvy, like you, Nick, purposefully. So basically what happened is, Trump has put tariffs or threatened tariffs on many nations because we are literally at the huge disadvantage economically to these other nations in terms of goods that they're bringing into America. They tariff our goods. We don't tariff theirs. They have much lower wages in their factories, so they can make things lower. So by buying their goods at that level, we're actually supporting low-wage factory workers in Mexico and China and everything else to never get a living wage. So it keeps those people in poverty. So from a moral and ethical stand, people don't talk about this. It's, this is a positive to help those workers in other countries get their pay up. And once that happens, the tariffs get removed because the cost of goods is more equal. We're giving away billions and hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions of dollars in trade and equity. So, and there's a lot of other things that these countries are doing that hurt the United States. And part of that is what's going on in Canada, where China is shipping fentanyl into the Vancouver ports. It's then moved into the interior of the country, made into the fentanyl, and then shipped across the Canadian border. And the law enforcement up there is doing nothing about it. And we've asked them to do things about it, and they do nothing about it. So at some point, you have to bring the hammer. And that's what Trump is doing. He's bringing the hammer down on these things that are hurting our country and killing our people that the Canadian government has allowed to go on. And when you know the facts, you understand why he's doing it. It's not willy-nilly, he's going to put people in poverty in Canada. If the tariffs even happen, okay? This is more negotiating. You've seen him do it with Colombia. You've seen it do it with Mexico. And when they're threatened in that way economically, you capitulate to things that you should be doing from a humanitarian standpoint anyway, and things that you should be doing in terms of what's in the best interest of both countries, quite frankly. And you're not bowing down to the cartels and the corruption of these other countries. You're holding their leaders accountable for what's going on. I don't have a problem with that. So that's the political side of it. But when it comes down to hockey, and I understand a lot of the Canadian, because the Canadian media is even worse than the United States media. Their mainstream media is completely agenda-driven towards Trudeau and that whole ridiculous group. The Canadian people have figured out that's very much like this country. That's not where you want to be in terms of freedom and freedom of choice. So there's a lot of misinformation that's going around that I think has fueled the booing thing. And I think people will come to their senses. I saw a lot of Canadian people that were embarrassed by the booing and online. So I don't think that, there's no more games today's game's in Boston, right? They moved to Boston.
Or I know the championship is. I'm not sure about today.
I think the games have all moved to Boston. So hopefully we're done with that. But anyway, let's play Cooper talking about the anthem from his perspective. This was, I think,
this was fans last night booing the American anthem, which they'll probably do again tomorrow.
Well, we can't say that for sure. We hope it doesn't happen. I think people have their personal feelings, and I think sometimes they get it gets mushed together when, you bring politics into sports. And I guess for me, there's a whole, like, the NHL is great because there's so many players from so many different countries. And, when they're wearing the home jersey, it's okay. Everybody cheers for them. But if they put on their away jersey, they're booing them. And I'm okay with that. Like Willie Nylander got booed in that Sweden game. They weren't getting booed because he was a Swede. They were getting booed because he was a Leaf. And I'm okay with that. That's where the interaction happens. But when you start bringing the anthem and the politics into that, the players are representing their country, and it's great in that aspect. But to me, you're clouding two issues, and I just think everybody should come here and cheer for the great game and just kind of leave that part out of it. And because I'd like the same for us, when we go to other countries as well. These countries have been around way before us, and I think we should respect that.
I did. He was absolutely right. I think he, booing in the sense of sporting rivalries, fantastic. That's all good. This, it's just different. And I think, I don't think it's just, I don't think it's a shining moment for the Canadians, to be quite honest. I don't. And I think they'll regret it in some way. And I think Cooper's spot on, absolutely spot on. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't like the booing necessarily, but in a weird way, it sort of has added to the,
Oh yeah,
it's sort of added to the whole moment, right? And I think we always love to create I feel like the division in sports in the context of the game itself, because we love to root for our good guy and boo for the bad guy. And for better or worse, we have made Canada the bad guy here in this situation. And you were going into hostile territory in Montreal, the Bell Center. To me, I like that feeling of here comes the USA going into hostile territory.
Yeah.
Think I know this is a movie, but think Rocky IV when Rocky goes to fight Ivan Drago in the Soviet Union and hostile territory, right? And then when you triumph through that, it's all that sweeter. That's the beautiful thing about this. The United States went out and took it to Canada for 60 minutes, just about, on their home turf, with everything that happened leading up to it. It made it all that more sweeter.
Yeah, it was just incredible to watch. And we got another one coming up. I mean, I don't see how Canada's going to let this opportunity slip away. They've got to beat either in regular, they got to get a regulation win over who they got, Finland today?
Finland, yeah.
1:00, I believe. So if they win in regulation, they're into the championship game. Is that correct?
Yeah, as long as they win in regulation. I don't know the exact tiebreakers and things like that, but I know that all Finland, Sweden, and Canada, they all have a shot. They all have a shot to get into this game. So we'll see what happens with United States. They play Sweden today. Tkachuk got hurt, didn't play the third period the other night. Matthew, that is. He was not on the ice this morning, I saw. So if he doesn't go, Chris Kreider is going to slot in as the 12th forward. So something to keep an eye on there.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were a betting man, I would say Canada's probably going to take care of business. They're going to be pissed off, and they know what's at stake here. It would be an epic failure if they don't beat Finland to move on. But I hope for the game of hockey we get round 2. I think that's what everybody wants to see.
That'll be Thursday night in Boston.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is going to be insane. I think the numbers. God, I can imagine with these. I don't even know what the hell is going on Thursday night, but there can't be anything big. That's going to be absolutely enormous ratings. Can't wait to see it. It's going to be super, super fun. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. I got some Rays news to give you, some rather important news. And we'll also talk about what they did over the weekend. More ridiculousness coming out of their mouths. It's you're laughing. Maybe you even have some things to say about
I do.
We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you have any issues, any legal issues whatsoever, make sure you go to the website, contact them through the website. They will give you a free case evaluation, JEEVESLawgroup.com. I believe I have a case with my recent being hit by a golf ball and the callousness that was displayed by the offender. I think I have a great case, so I'm going to go right to the Jeeves Law Group and get a free case evaluation. JeevesLawGroup.com is where you go. Back in 3.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Hey guys, February's birthstone is amethyst, a stunning purple gem that symbolizes peace, protection, tranquility, and sincerity. Celebrate her birthday or your 6th and 17th wedding anniversaries with an unforgettable amethyst gift. And of course, for over 40 years, the Gold and Diamond Source has been Tampa Bay's most trusted name in fine jewelry. We only sell natural diamonds. If it's real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't get a fake. The Gold and Diamond Source first-time buyer program will help you learn about the 4 C's, what style, shape, and color works best for you and your unique style. Folks, it's the best customer service. They make it so easy for you, and they're not going to push you into something that you cannot afford. 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Also, you can turn your old unused gold into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. So get that old jewelry and bring it on in. You know where, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Overton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. If you screwed up on Valentine's, you still have an opportunity to make up for it. You're in the doghouse. You got to go to the Gold and Diamond Source pretty quick, quickly. 3800 Olmerton Road. Remember, 0% financing. They have the best selection. If you're thinking about popping the question because Valentine's Day went really, really well, then get your butt over there. They have a great staff that will not try to talk you into something bigger that you can't afford. They don't do that there. They will stick within your budget and get you something great. So head on over there to the Gold and Diamond Source and tell them JP sent you. Speaking of the Rays, you know, standing 10 feet to my left, and I'm giving him the eye to get his ass over here, is Ken Hagan.
Oh.
So over the weekend, in case you missed it, after the humongous backlash, hell, even the Times, even Romano got after the Rays for that stupid crap they said last week, blaming the city and the county again for screwing up this deal, which everyone knows you're the one holding it up. I think it's because they've been given leeway to create false narratives this entire time by the media, that they feel like they can just say whatever they want to say and people are going to believe it. But much like in the national scope, the gig is up and people don't believe you anymore.
No.
They know you're lying. The gaslighting is over. Stop it. to stop it. And I think they finally realized that because they came back on FanFest and said, "Oh no, don't worry, we got 4 years."
I got the quote. I got the quote right here. This was him.
This
was Matt. This was Matt Silverman this time. And let me preface this. We said this last week, and I know you say it all the time. Matt Silverman and Brian Auld, in my opinion, are not the bad guys here. They are the spokesman for this team. For one person, they're doing their job. So I understand they're having to take the bullets, but we know who the guy is. But anyway,
which, by the way, is so cowardly.
You mentioned the thing about, we have 4 years to get this out. He said, we're going to figure this out. And pay attention to this part. Just don't know exactly how it's going to get done, exactly where it's going to get done. But the commitment has always been here. We're going to be here. This is Tampa Bay's team, and we'll figure it out. Again, he said, don't know exactly where it's going to get done or how.
You know what I got to say to that? Time's up. Time's up for you, Stu Sternberg. And again, I do want to take Matt and Brian out of this because I think they're just doing their job. They're getting paid handsomely for it, but they're doing their job. Time is up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have 4 years because if Major League Baseball has a gonad, just a single one, they got to force him to sell the damn team now. And the news that I have over the weekend, I talked to some very influential people within this process, and there are more names that I'm getting and surfacing, and the only reason I'm getting these names is under strict anonymity, and I'm not going to burn my sources. And this doesn't mean these folks are going to buy the team, because it's my understanding that, yes, shocking development, Stu Sternberg is driving a very hard bargain. And the fact that he came out and said, oh, well, if it was for sale, you'd know it. Everybody knows it's for sale. So we do know it, and we don't believe a word you're saying. And we know it's for sale because Major League Baseball and Ken Rosenthal, who basically is a spokesperson, said so and confirmed the reporting that we have had. And I can just tell you, I had 2 names added to the list this past weekend. And they are Tampa elite. They are longtime residents that are the most, some of the biggest names you can imagine. And they want to do this because they want to save the Rays. They want it to be done right here. They want it to be done in Tampa, and they're committed to doing it. Now, they're not just going to write a blank check to Stu Sternberg to do it. The price has to be reasonable. So under those auspices, it may not get done.
Well,
it may not get done, which sucks because a reasonable price for this team is about $1.8 billion, maybe into the twos. But certainly not $3 billion, not 2.6, not 2.8. I think the right price for this team is probably $2 billion, right around $2 billion. It's valued at a little bit less than that by Forbes, but they're usually about 20% off when the teams actually get sold. So with that history, we'll just say around about $2 billion. So if Major League Baseball, which by the way would be 109, about a $1.9 billion profit for Stu Sternberg. It's not, and that's just in the sale, not to mention all the money he's made along the way, which is hundreds of millions of dollars. So just take your money and go. Now, all of their rhetoric seems like they're setting it up for a legal challenge to get part of that redevelopment money, which they could possibly get in an elongated court fight. Eventually the city would settle because they have to eventually build on that site. And of course, Stu has been the one that's kept it all from happening for 8 years now on both sides of the bay. We've talked about that. So in my mind, your time's up. You don't sit back and tell me, oh, we got 4 or 5 years. We'll just go through this rigmarole again. No, you don't. And we need to get some real grassroots movements going. It's time to go. Stu Sternberg, MLB, it's time for you to go. We have credible, deep pocket investors in Tampa that want to buy that team at a reasonable price, so they'll have money left over to help build a stadium in Tampa and finally do this the right way. finally do this the right way. It's in Major League Baseball's interest. It's in the other owners' interest. The only person who's not in their interest is the guy who wants $3 billion for the team and is trying to be ridiculously ridiculous.
We've been over this so much, but I will just try to sum it up here as a Tampa Bay native, a hardcore, diehard Rays fan and everything, who loves everything that they've done on the field for the past 15 or so years and everything, and we praise them endlessly for what they've been able to achieve. I will always say they've been doing it in spite of Stu Sternberg, not because of Stu Sternberg. And I've reached the point, and I think all Rays fans have reached the point, I just want this guy to go away.
Yeah.
I just want him to go away. And you've proven time and time again you don't care about this community. I really don't know how much you really care about this team at this point. And everything he says into the public is absolute BS. I'm completely over it. I just want him to go away. I'm tired of being just jerked around as a fan with this stadium stuff over the entirety of my entire life, essentially dealing with this and having to hear, well, we still have 4 more years. No, you don't. No, you don't. This is an absolute... Your time is up. Like you said, there's no Rays defenders out there when it comes to anything they're putting out into the public. The gig is up. Nobody's buying anything they're saying. And that tells me it's over. And if $600 million from the county and the city of St. Pete isn't enough to help you get a new stadium, then you need to sell the team. $600 million is a lot of money for a county.
It's going to be in public funds to build the stadium, and another $500 to $700 million in real estate profits.
Right.
That basically pays for your part of the stadium.
Right, and if you
stadium.
Right, and of course,
not good enough for this guy.
Right, and of course, the whole estimation that the delay cost them $50 million, which they have not been able to prove whatsoever. Because guess what? It doesn't exist. Exactly. They came up with that figure out of thin air. So two things are happening here. The Rays either desperately do not want to build in St. Pete whatsoever, or you know what? Stu doesn't have the money, and he's not willing to admit it. He hasn't been able to find the money from whoever that he's trying to get it from, and he just will not admit it. That's the only 2 ways this is happening right now.
I said this last week. I'll say it again. I've talked to 2 businessmen who were approached by the Rays to give them investment dollars, and they both. And by the way, one of them listens to this show and said, "I'm not doing business with you," because I told the other one, just go look at the lawsuit from his former partners and see if you want to invest with this guy. It might have been smart for the city and county to peruse that lawsuit before they got into business with Stu. But whatever, they regret it now. I'm sure they do. And it's just time is up. And so my message today is we need a really big grassroots movement to go to Major League Baseball and say, look, Rob Manfred, force this to get done. They did it with Namoli. There's precedent in this market. They've done it with other owners. You got to do it now. And these guys that want to buy the team, folks, I wish I could tell you the names. Because when they come out, if the deal gets done, like we had a comment on my Facebook earlier this week, and basically it was like, Tampa, our enthusiasm for baseball, it's woven into the fabric of our community, Tampa Bay. And you've already seen that at twice the price, the team is sold out. The Steinbrenner Field is sold out already. It's going to be. The response has been tremendous. Major League Baseball has to know this. And of course they do now. Manfred has talked to Chris Latvala. He's talked to the city. The city, I'm telling you, as I told you a month ago when this all happened, they're resigned that this deal is not going to get done, and it's most likely going to get done in Tampa. So with that being said, time is up. So we need a grassroots campaign to put pressure on Stu and Major League Baseball.
Agreed.
Why don't you go through some of the comments here, partner? I can mute my mic a little bit.
Yeah, let me mute yours there since we're getting some. Yeah, there we go. Let's try to go up here. Daniel Rivera, thank you for tuning in. He said Brody Brazil. I'm not sure who Brody Brazil is necessarily. Maybe you do, JP. In his video on Saturday, thinks the Rays are unstable and believes that a relocation vote won't save us. He also mentioned the Orlando factor, which is really a non-factor.
When you mention the Orlando factor, it means you don't know much about this. Again, Brody does great, highly produced videos, but it's all regurgitation of information that I've said or has been in print. So it's not He's not coming up with anything original or even giving any opinions. Nice dude, great videos, but for our discussion, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah. And he put at the bottom here too. Ken Hagan wouldn't be aggressive in Hillsborough if he didn't take a deal in Tampa. Could get it done.
I could tell you this: he's standing right over here, and normally he comes on the show. What's up? Things are happening. If he doesn't want to come on the show today, things are happening, or he's got to go hit balls before he goes out. But
yeah.
Continue.
We had some other comments here on some other subjects as well I wanted to get into. Actually, there were some people talking here about the race yesterday, so I wanted to put some of these up. Mike H. chiming in about the Daytona 500. He said, NASCAR was good. Hate that Joey, and that's Joey Logano, that is, forgot how wide his car was. And so, again, JP, I don't know how much you watched of the race yesterday or if any, but the context there, a little bit. The context there was 15 laps to go, and Joey Logano, he's the defending champion, 3-time champion in NASCAR, and he was in the about the third row. So he was running about fifth or sixth with 15 laps left. He tried to make a pretty aggressive move to go to the middle lane, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was not going to let it happen, and he went for a block. It kind of was a little late, but Joey probably shouldn't have pushed the envelope there, especially how he just mentioned how wide his car was. And once he committed, he was stuck. There was no more lifting that could take place at that speed, and this started a domino effect, and it took out a lot of really good cars, including Kyle Busch, who was still looking for his first Daytona 500 victory. It looked like he was one of the best cars out there. So, and Joey got a lot of heat for that one, making that move late in the race. And I would tell you that for someone as experienced as him, and he might have been the best car in the entire field, 15 laps to go is not the time to make these moves. It's not the time to make these moves whatsoever. And then you go to the last lap of the race when they went to overtime, or actually just before that, with 3 laps left, and Cole Custer's pushing Christopher Bell. He's pushing him on his left rear. And for whatever reason, the Toyotas don't usually push well on super speedways. I'm not sure what it is, but it's always been a thing. He gets Christopher Bell loose. Christopher Bell goes head on into the wall. Pretty scary wreck. But then, and I don't know if you saw this, JP, but go look at it on Twitter. Christopher Bell then gets run into by Ryan Preece. And my goodness, Ryan Preece, his car lifts off the ground. It settles in like sort of like a wheelie position, and it looks like it's just going to sit there and eventually just come down. And out of nowhere, the air just takes a 3,600-pound vehicle, and it looked like a piece of plywood on a windy day. Totally flipped that car over, and he takes a big hit and then slides up the racetrack and takes another big hit into the wall. Super dangerous. Ryan Preece, the onboard camera is so gnarly on it. He's like bracing for impact. His eyes are closed. He said after he was thinking of his daughter in that moment because he was really scared that something bad was going to happen. And he talked about how if we don't get this under control, then something bad is going to happen. And this is now the third big wreck Ryan Preece has been involved with at Daytona. So that was pretty scary last night with that big wreck.
And the super speedways always scare the hell out of me, those last few. That's why you got to wait till the last 2 laps to make your move.
It's just guys getting too aggressive. Getting too aggressive too early, and that happened. That brought us to the last lap of the race at overtime, where they're still on the backstretch, and Cole Custer's pushing Denny Hamlin, and again, Cole Custer again gets a little too aggressive. And you probably, you can wait till you get to turn 4 to try to make that move. You don't have to do it on the back straightaway. He got a little too aggressive. Chase Briscoe tried to fit his car into like a tiny little window, and it didn't work. And all 4 guys go spinning. And William Byron, who won the Daytona 500 last year, wasn't much of a factor in this race. He sort of just the seas parted for him. He makes his way through and gets to the checkered line to win his second straight Daytona 500.
It's like the tortoise and the hare almost, The tortoise just sits back in the back, lets the hare run, and then when they all crash, he just kind of moves through the end and gets the win. It's not the way.
It's a race of survival. It's a race of survival. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, a great, I won't say a great finish, but certainly a interesting finish to Daytona. All right. Any other comments we want to get to?
Some people were also chiming in about the NBA All-Star Game and how they said, and Michael LaRue said, the NBA All-Star Game had long, clunky stoppages. They're already talking about making next year's game, USA versus the world, which I think would be a logical thing to do. Maybe they put on their country's uniform and maybe they'll have a little bit more interest, but I don't know. I think the NBA is the All-Star game, All-Star weekend is beyond saving at this point. Yesterday, there was like 30 minutes of like actual basketball being played, and it was terrible basketball at that. We have Kevin Hart is being shoved down our throat in 2025 to do his shtick, and it did not land whatsoever. You could tell the players were pretty bothered and cringed out by the whole thing. It was like the Kevin Hart TNT show rather than a show for the game's greatest players. Steph Curry, this game was played in the Chase Center in San Francisco. Steph Curry doesn't even participate in All-Star Weekend, even though it's in San Francisco, which I think is just a mistake. And then you have Mac McClung, 3-time slam dunk champion in a row, who's got 71 NBA minutes, and he's winning the NBA dunk contest 3 years in a row.
But he's the best. And now everybody's promising to get back in it, so we shall see. All right, partner, I'm going to wrap it up from here. If you want to bring it back after the break and wrap everything up, that'll be great. We'll see you tomorrow. Scott Reynolds will be joining us tomorrow. TJ Reeves and hopefully get Chief on as well. Talk some hockey. All right, Nick will be back right after the break. Stay with us.
Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. JP's gonna had to cut out a little bit early today to go play in his golf tournament this morning with some pretty big names such as Titus O'Neil, who again, if you missed it, he was on on the first segment of the show, talking about an array of topics. Gary Koch as well, and Lou Maggio from the vice president of the Sports Club of Tampa Bay. So I implore you to check out those if you get a chance. And I'm just going to wrap it. I'm going to briefly just sort of wrap up the weekend that was, sort of all the things we talked about. We're going to get out of here a little bit early today as well. We spent a lot of time talking about that USA-Canada hockey game and how much we felt like that was a landmark moment for the game of hockey And hopefully that translates to the NHL as well, because like I had mentioned, I have never seen my Twitter feed with so many people talking about hockey happening in real time that night on a Saturday night as well. And you saw by the fact that over 5 million viewers in the U.S. alone were tuned into that game on ABC. And tonight we get the final game here of this first round here. The USA obviously going to be playing in the Thursday championship game. They've already clinched a spot. And it looks like Tkachuk is going to be out of the lineup. McAvoy is going to be out of the lineup tonight, too. They're both going to take a rest. So Jake Sanderson, the Ottawa defenseman, is going to step in. And then Chris Kreider, the Rangers veteran forward, is going to step in up front. And it looks like Jake Ottinger of the Dallas Stars is going to replace Connor Hellebuck, who's going to get rest before the Thursday night championship game. And as we sort of laid out, it looks like as long as Canada wins in regulation today against Finland, then Canada will be joining the U.S. in the championship game on Thursday. And I would like to think that for any casual viewers out there or any hardcore hockey viewers out there, we are rooting for USA Canada Part 2. This time it'll be in Boston in the TD Garden if it happens, and it's going to be an electric atmosphere. This tournament has been an absolute home run for hockey and the NHL as well. So we don't really praise Gary Bettman much for some of the shortcomings that he has as a commissioner, but he definitely hit it out of the park with this one. And of course, the players also had to do their part, and that was take this serious. And not only have they taken it serious, like I said, they've presented this game at the highest level that you possibly can with this best on best that they sort of came up with here. And you look at the talent that was on the ice the other night. Obviously, the McDavids, the McKinnons, the Crosbys for Team Canada. Obviously, McCarr didn't play, unfortunately, so you missed him. But the United States coming back with Matthews and the Tkachuks and the Hughes. I mean, it was just a star-studded event and a big hit for the NHL. So definitely looking forward to seeing that today and seeing the championship game on Thursday. We talked a little bit also about the Rays and everything and how we feel about it's time for the gig is up with Stu Sternberg. And, all this stuff that they're putting out into the media has just gone too far. Nobody's buying it anymore. And it's time to sort of, or get off the pot at this point when it comes to this stadium. The March 31st deadline is what it is. The Rays saying that they have 4 years to figure this out. That couldn't be any more further from the truth, in my opinion. So we'll see what else they have to say in the media, because I'm sure this is going to continue being a back and forth until we get to that March 31st deadline date. We talked a little about the Daytona 500 yesterday as well, which unfortunately rain, as it tends to be the case most recently at Daytona, rain ruins the event. But in an interesting way, I felt like it almost, even though we had to wait to get the action underway and everything, there's nothing better than racing at Daytona under the lights. You see those cars shine on that big track. So I actually thought, as much as the rain delay sucked and it was about 3 hours and 30 minutes in total time, getting to see those cars race at night, I actually think ended up being really cool. We had a sitting president attend the event as well, which made it feel like a big deal and everything. So shout out to NASCAR for that. Great start to the season. And then, of course, the NBA All-Star Game, or I don't even know if you call it a game necessarily. It was a mini tournament yesterday, and it failed miserably. It absolutely failed miserably for the NBA. You didn't really see much more care this time around than you did see in recent sort of iterations of the game. Nobody's trying. Nobody cares. LeBron James announces an hour before this event opens up that he's not even going to be playing. He's going to be resting. And you're the face of the league, and I just didn't think that was the right move to make. I mentioned Steph Curry, the fact that this game was in his backyard right there in San Francisco where the Warriors play, doesn't even take part in the Saturday showcase whatsoever. Didn't like that. And now we're back to the drawing board of how can we save NBA All-Star Weekend? And I just feel like we've gone too far. And I think it's past the point of saving at this point. The players have just sort of accepted that this is what it is. And for the ones that are complaining about it, I saw Draymond Green on the TNT broadcast talking about, I don't like the format, I don't like this, I don't like that. Well, it's that generation of players that has sort of created this problem. I mean, it felt like back in the day, and I know I was a little younger, but you can go back and look at it, like the guys like Kobe and everything, who's very notable for how he would show up to All-Star Weekend, and it was a big deal for him, and he wanted to win All-Star MVP, and they wanted to compete best on best, and you just don't get that with the majority of today's eras of players. And that's sad, because I feel like NBA All-Star Weekend used to be a really big deal. NBA Saturday night, the slam dunk contest, the 3-point shootout, all that used to be such a big deal. And, no offense to Mac McClung, and, I applaud him for the creativity on some of his dunks and everything. It's a guy who, like I said, he's played 71 minutes of NBA basketball. There's not much of an emotional connection there to him from the masses. And, John Morant said that he feels inspired to compete, and Giannis hit him back and said, if you compete, well, I'll compete. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I feel like we've been down this road before with the NBA stars. I just don't think they want anything to do with NBA All-Star Weekend. And that's a shame. But regardless, in closing, I mean, it was still a pretty eventful sports weekend. This was the first sports weekend without the NFL, and we were treated to a great hockey game. We were treated to the Daytona 500. We had obviously the Genesis yesterday with Ludwig Oberg with a crazy comeback, a thrilling finish to win that one at Torrey Pines. So strap in, everybody. We got 8 months until football season comes back. A little light, not much going on in Buccaneer land, or really in the NFL landscape this week, which is as expected the week after the Super Bowl. But before you know it, we're going to be heading into March, and we're going to be heading into free agency. The draft will be here before we know it. And so we'll have plenty to break down about that, of how the Buccaneers are going to attack this in the coming weeks. But with that, that'll do it for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the show, hear what we had to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the weekend as much as we did, and I hope you guys have a good week going forward as well. JP will be back tomorrow for more, and I will see you guys next Monday. Have a good one, everyone.